This is Ken Pyle, and we're here at the Broadband TV Con, and we're with Joe Jensen of Block Communications, a big operator, a communication service provider in Toledo, Ohio, right?
Toledo, Ohio. We have, of course, the Buckeye Cable entity and Buckeye CableSystem, which is our CLEC. We also have the Toledo Blade and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and broadcast TV stations in Louisville, Lima, Champaign, Illinois, and Boise, Idaho.
So that gives you a really big perspective of how all this stuff fits together, and particularly from an over-the-top perspective. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with a way to kind of create these local sports channels, and we'll look at that too.
Well, yes, our chairman, Alan Block, had the idea 10 years ago, to get into the local sports arena, and we started BCSN, which is our Buckeye Cable Sports Network. We have since added 2 more channels, so we have BCSN 1 and 2 and BCSN Erie, all of which focus on local sports events, ranging from, I think we've done the Pinewood Derby all the way up to collegiate sports, football, baseball, and also have the Mud Hens, the local minor league team that is carried on our station.
One of the things that's really unique about this is you are streaming it, and you're streaming it live, right? And it's 24/7?
It's 24/7. We're in the process of adding video on demand, so you can actually go on through our app, either on Android or iOS, and see both the live streaming channels that are available on our cable system as well as on demand.
And it's an authenticated system, so you have to be a subscriber to your system?
That's correct. You have to log in with your user ID and password to authenticate, and then you have access to all of the content.
Now, do you have to be a video subscriber, or can you be just a broadband subscriber?
Currently, it's video subscribers who are available, who have access to the content.
And one of the things that you're going to be talking about at this conference is the whole idea of taking that content and bringing it to the TV in one sense, right?
Well, yes, we're, again, IP is the way of the future. As you look at the past, voice has become an application on the data network, and we believe that video is next. I'm not alone in that, by the way. There's plenty of content being discussed here at the conference. But what we're looking at is a transitionary mechanism to move us from the video QAM environment traditionally into the IP environment. And in December, we met with the Media Bureau of the FCC and had some discussions around how do we make that transition. And then in March, we sent a request for a waiver to the FCC that would allow us to build an IP transition device that had both effectively a DTA in it and an IP device. And one of the staffers at the Media Bureau said effectively what it was we were duct taping a Roku box to a DTA, and that's kind of what we're trying to do, is allow us to be able to pull content either through the video QAM side of the business or through the IP side and present it in a unified manner to the customer.
And with that, it needs all the authentication, all the encryption and so forth, or decryption that you would have in a regular system, but also the whole idea of the cable card is part of your waiver, right? Do you need that anymore?
Well, that is what the waiver is focused on, is can we do this without the cable card, because that would effectively double the cost of that device that we're trying to put out. What we had envisioned was let's deploy a device that looks like a DTA, and then as our infrastructure builds, we can now enable IP content, both our own and third party on the IP side, and gracefully transition content from linear QAMs over to IP in a way that doesn't require us to stand up an entire lineup as we do today in standard definition and high definition, and yet another full lineup on IP. We are hoping to avoid that, as well as manage the transition to IP as it affects our network in a more graceful manner.
And so in that scenario, the IP traffic would still come over the network, but probably via DOCSIS means?
It would be DOCSIS based, and we would now be able to identify content that is either appropriate for video QAMs. And for example, the Super Bowl is probably going to be a highly viewed event and would likely be more appropriate for a video QAM. We see this as a way to support the same idea as multicast on an IP environment, but using our traditional infrastructure. We can then move towards a unicast environment for dedicated session content, video session content, or for trick mode. If we are offering customers the ability to view content, pause, fast forward, we could do that on the IP side. We also would like to be able to provide all of the services that we offer on any device. So the idea is this hybrid IP DTA would support adaptive streaming, just like my iPad, and it would also enable us in the future to support network PVR and other capabilities that today require a significant amount of investment on a home-by-home basis.
Well, that's kind of going back the other way then. Do you also envision having your broadcast channels being available online as well, through the IP method?
Oh, absolutely. This is giving us potentially the opportunity to pick which is the most effective means of delivering content. And that is both today linear streaming as well as on demand, and in the future third-party applications also. So it's an interest in being the aggregator of choice for our customers in the future.
Well, and as you pointed out in our conversation earlier, it's really having that one interface too to make it simple, right? So there's to the customer, this is invisible. Right?
Yes, and jumping from linear to if there's a third-party application that's of interest, you don't have to change inputs on the TV, you don't have to change remotes. What we would really like to be able to do is simplify the experience, improve the experience so that customers can find the content they want in a very clean and efficient manner.
So, assuming you get the waiver, when do you think this could be deployed?
Well, we're hoping that before the end of the year we will have worked out all of the necessary steps. We are still in the process of evaluating the user guide, the user interface. We're trying to understand how we want to present this to our customers in a next generation format. So we've got that. There are still some certification issues that have to go on with the box because this does have the conditional access mechanism in it, as well as digital rights management on the IP side. We've got all of that integration that we need to do. So my fond hope is that it would be available in the fourth quarter.
Okay, well, Joe, I appreciate your insight on this, and thank you very much.
Good to talk to you, Ken.
Likewise.